Good morning, good evening, everyone. This is Team 500 Percentage. My name is Fan Yang,
My name is Elaine.
My name is 泽宇记.
My name is Feiqing.
My name is Payne.
and our topic is a new sustainable city management strategy under the background of COVID-19 pandemic. Thanks for Professor Rand Park's point. For our online, it contains 7 main parts: background information, challenge description, introduction of grid management and digital management. Then is a combination of these two management. The fifth one is the blueprint of CUEP, and then is the feasibility and the future expectation. Firstly, Elaine will introduce you the background information.
We all know that since December of 2019, COVID-19 virus was firstly detected in Wuhan, China, and spread around with extremely infectious to most countries in the world, which leads to an unprecedented public health crisis. It was very widespread between communities in the city due to densely populated. During this period, the relationship between China and US has some problems. There were many historical problems in China-US relations. This time, the COVID-19 pandemic is like a fuse that caused this problem. So basically, I listed 3 major points here. First is the US believed that the new coronavirus originated in China, and China believed the US was slandering. Secondly, the United States and China have adopted a series of blockade policies, which have a huge impact on the exchange between the two sides. And finally, the Trump administration some unfriendly policies toward China and China's tough response during 2020. Although the epidemic has affected China-US relations, both sides and even the whole world were facing enormous challenges due to the epidemic. First of all, control the spreading of the virus. Secondly, ensure basic living standards for the residents. During the pandemic, many people lose jobs. They didn't have income or money. Many stores were closed. People might not able to get products they need. Thus, this is important. Thirdly, maintain social order. During COVID-19 pandemic, many people face pressure or trauma, like death of family and friends, property loss, and so on. This may lead to people's dissatisfaction with life, and thus may even lead to people have antisocial personality. Lastly, is reduce crime problems caused by COVID-19 pandemic. We cannot rule out that because many people are concerned about the COVID-19 virus, some people have begun to take advantage of the chaos and conduct crimes. How to solve those problems? We want to introduce a concept of urban management. Urban management has always been a topic closely related to sustainable development. The focus of good urban governance is to improve the lives of residents and solve the difficulties and challenges faced by the city, as well as respond to future challenges. Good urban management can control the spread of the virus, maintain the normal living standards of the residents, reduce urban crime problems caused by the epidemic. Based on this, our team designs a new city management system called Grid Plus Digital Management to jointly optimize the current urban management model. And we designed a platform called CUEP to operate this city management system. Control the spreading of coronavirus as soon as possible and return to the state of the normal period, then the relationship between China and the US will be more likely to be improved.
And after the background information, I will introduce you the challenge we met, especially in the city side. The most feasible challenge is many cities all over the world locked down, like Wuhan, New York, etc. The first image here is a condition that at 10 a.m. on July 23rd, 2020, Wuhan declared a city closure, which is the first city closed because of COVID-19. No cars, no people on the street. The next challenge is about economy. Thousands of stores closed. New York, which is the financial center all over the world, stopped its track due to the epidemic. The image below is about some famous closed brand stores during the last year. Because of the city closure and store closure, it causes the high unemployment rate. According to the data from CRS, the unemployment rate in 2020 reaches 15%, which is the highest percentage in the past 70 years. The high unemployment rate causes a higher crime rate and higher living stress for the citizens, which became one of the main reasons for American society chaotic condition in the second half year of 2020. Education is another area that has been hit twice as hard, both in China and America. For safety consideration, thousands of schools, especially the universities, decided to close the campus and switch to online courses. The direct influence for the university was the reduction of tuition revenue and stagnant research program. These two images below are about our university. The University of Minnesota decided to decrease the number of liberal education, PhD programs, and students because of the COVID-19. As we can see, the pandemic influenced the city a lot. Therefore, a good city management strategy is so important. I will introduce you two definitions. The first one is grid management. I want to use example about Beijing city, which is the capital of China, and it has a large number of populations, area, and cars. Based on the grid management, I separate it into a lot of different parts, and then the resources can be allocated better and ordered. This is how grid management works. And some basic knowledge about grid management. It is started at 25 by Beijing Dongcheng district government. The initial function is to deal with residents' people matters, and Bill Gates said it is a world-class case. The second management way is digital management. It is a method that uses computer communication and network technology to codify management behaviors. As we can see, digital means data, and data is very common in our life and study. In my marketing class, I learned 5-step marketing research approach. During this process, I found 5 areas mentioned data. We firstly need to gather data and then analyze it, finally use the data. Similarly, in digital management about pandemic, we need to get data about the citizens and patients. Then analyze where is a high risk area. How about the patient's condition, the pandemic tendency? Finally, is using the data to solve the pandemic, solve the problem. So let me make a short conclusion. For China side, they are good at grid management since China is a founder and already use it well in pandemic. But their disadvantage is data analyze skills and they don't have a sufficient data platform right now. For US side, data capacity is their advantage, but they are not good at using grid management. Therefore, how about combine these two city management strategies?
All right, thanks for the fun speech about China description and our 2 series background information. Now we'll talk about how we apply this series to our real life. As you can see, this structure graph, which is about grid plus digital management, we will divide it into 3 parts: government, online platform, which is COEP, and our customer, which is the citizen. Firstly, I'm going to talk about government. Because US has totally different policy to China, according to US Constitution, health, safety, and welfare in the US is generally the responsibility of the state level government. We think the state government might be the most appropriate level of management to make the distribution and manage the whole platform in Minnesota. As a management level of the whole city, I think it has 2 identities, which are data center and epidemic leader. To be a data center, it has the right to control all of the information from the grid unit, which can include the population, epidemic, and society information. They also need to ensure that all of this information will not disclose to the public to protect the citizens' privacy. As an epidemic leader, they need to do some actions to deal with this epidemic situation based on the information they gathered, such as supply deployment and the grid detection. Next part is customer, or we can call it the people side. You can take a look at this picture. This is just a simple example that how do we divide the grid. In our real life, you don't need to follow these red lines to divide the whole city. This will totally decided by the government. You can choose to divide by the streets, different communities, or even the different areas in the city. For example, the University of Minnesota as a uni grid. You can check a lot of information on this map, and you can search it by using COEP, which I will talk later. On this map, you can find the supplies point, the COVID-19 test point, and also the most important part is find which area has the most serious situation and how many cases in there. As you can see, the right side of this slide is the total cases and deaths in this area. And also you can find more specific information such as the right circle with the number 105. You will know that in this area, it has 105 cases, and it will remind you that do not easily get close this area. And this will be more specific than the present information platform. The last part is our blueprint of China-US epidemic platform, and you can call it COEP. We have three main functions to it. The first one is about your personal health. You can check your personal health information and also have China to get your health QR code. You can check the nearby test station and other information on this platform, which I just showed you before. And also the second one is about the pandemic. You can check the pandemic overview here and also the regional epidemic situation, like the growth tendency. The third function is the international information sharing. There will be many experts here to share their pandemic knowledge, and also the people from China and US both can communicate here to share their experience. In next slide, Sherry will talk about the feasibility of COEP.
So to test the feasibility of COEP and hear directly from our target users, we designed two surveys to ask for the implementabilities of our functions. So first, we need to know who our target users should be. We noticed that the college students returning to campus if in-person classes open are still unsolved issues both in China and the US now. So in this survey, our majority voters are college students and the young generations. So secondly, we need to find out what can be improved in both countries. In the surveys, we figure out about 81% of US population are lack of the knowledge of grid management, and about 25% of the Chinese voters think the technology of QR code can be improved. So we know there's a market to demand both needs. Lastly, after knowing the user's demand, we need to know what potential users may think of our core ideas. According to the survey, about 70% of the voters believe our platform can be helpful to control the pandemic. Next, we want to know the public opinions on using one of our main functions, health QR code. As shown in the graph, only 10% of the US population are against the QR code, and I will mention their concerns later. We also ask the Chinese population whether they think the QR code is useful in the COVID control, and there is a very high percentage of people think they are under protection by using that function. Then we want to research whether people would cooperate with the platform. So according to our survey, more than 85% of people from both countries would be willing to report their travel track. Inclusion to our survey, our platform design is supported by majority of people in both US and China, which means we do have markets. But we have one question: where can our platform start from? As I mentioned before, college students are our target users, so we can actually start from UFM. As a small grid unit in our system, UFM can use their Boynton Health system to report the data of students to the platform. After getting the alarming area, UFM can also update the potential risk area information to students. To support our third function, UFM can also share epidemic prevention knowledge and epidemic research articles with people around the world. Some people also show their concerns to our platform, as I mentioned before. Two main concerns are freedom and privacy. Potential users are afraid of if they were reported as positive, they will be restricted from their movement. They also concerned that if their privacy will be exposed, to clear that obstacle, we can have the statement that we only encourage COVID positive public to report their travel tracks, and it's totally volunteered, and the whole process would be kept anonymous, and other people would never know who you are if your travel track is marked as dangerous. We know that if your travel track is marked as dangerous,
Mhm.
I can't hear you.
Sherry, are you okay?
I'm so sorry, my Wi-Fi just off just now, so I keep talking. So we know that it's very hard to set up a new platform, and there must be many problems to run COEP. So we have few problems we may face and come up with a solution to them. First is collecting data process very hard. Since our platform is supported by the government would provide the information to us. So I don't think that would be a problem. Second is how much money do we need to start the platform? We divide the budget into three parts: research and development cost, and operating cost, and advertising cost. And we believe the research and development cost would be the most costly one. And the third is what's the future development after pandemic? Our platform can become a professional pandemic information share and control platform in the future. And that will be better explained in our next section, future expectation.
So thank you. Yeah, move on to the potential and future expectation. The potential impact doesn't mean present, but also mean future. So from the society perspective, the platform not only provide the human rights, living conditions, safety and health, but also engage people with their community. And also the platform can help people be aware of the capacity of Earth biosphere and human civilization to coexist, and also promote the eco-friendly. From the political perspective, how the potential impact and the future expectation help the relationship between China and the US. First, we want the platform to meet less conflict and more cooperation. Second, to ease international tension between both nations. From the economic perspective, the new normal for employment and business closure. New normal means people will get into the different perspective and begin with their new life. Finally, the education part, college students return to campus and many programs will be open. So the platform can have other function during pandemic time. People can share their thoughts, experience on the platform to spread positivity. Also, the platform can have a donation button for people to donate the medical, food, money, supplies to the charities and people who need help. And after the pandemic, the platform can also use as tracking tools to track the current events and news, also be more precise with information and prepare for future events. So jump into our conclusion. Our platform is called CUEP, the China, the US Epidemic Platform. The theory is based on the gradient digital management, and the function is to control the COVID-19 by the government, manage online. The mission is sustainable development in China and the United States. So the CUEP will play as a medium and encourage customer upload and use data. And our expectation about the relationship between the China and the US is to ease the international tension and less conflict and increase the cooperation opportunity. And below are our reference. And thank you.